First thing I want to say is don't try this at home. I've already tested these gloves and I know that they work. I've tested a few pairs actually, and I don't want anybody to get hurt, so don't do this at home, okay? Now, first of all, it's your typical carpet cutter, all right? It's a piece of paper. You see that it actually cuts, okay? This is one of the old gloves that we have in stock. We've had these for quite a while. The inside is a material called Dyneema. And glove is on, so you don't think there's any trick photography here. You can see that this is actually a blade, and it actually cuts. Okay, so take the blade, I'm going to run it down the hand. You can see that it doesn't go through. Run it here, you can see that it doesn't go through. Run it here, here, here. You can see that it cuts up the glove, but it doesn't actually cut the material. And the reason why it doesn't cut the material is because the Dyneema actually holds it and actually protects your hand. So you can see that it's cutting the glove, but it's not actually cutting. Okay, that's why glove protection is important. It's important that you protect your hands. Okay. One of the other important things about glove is to know where your protection is. The turtles.
Hi everyone, it's Gord from 911 Gear. Today we're going to talk about duty gloves. Now, some people are lucky enough to be issued duty gloves, and most people aren't. Chances are, if you're issued duty gloves, the person buying them has decided on which glove based on pricing, which means you're probably going to end up with a Kevlar or Spectra lining and in a leather glove. Do you need to buy a more expensive pair of gloves? Short answer is no. Long answer is a little bit more complicated than that. So we're going to talk a little bit about duty gloves, the protection, different types of protection, where the protections are, the materials that the gloves come in, and some of the frequently asked questions that we have from customers regarding gloves in this video. Let's start off by talking about the two basic types of gloves that you're going to encounter. One is leather and the other one is a material glove. Leather versus material, which one's better? Yeah, really at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to what you prefer personally and what you're willing to spend. As far as leather gloves go, they're available in Kevlar as well as Spectra. I was not able to find anywhere a pair of leather gloves that have Dyneema in them. Doesn't mean they don't exist, just means I couldn't find them. As far as the advantages of leather, leather is a little bit more resistant to fluids, better abrasion resistance. The disadvantages to leather gloves is that they're a little bulkier and they're harder to feel things. You lose some of your dexterity when searching. As far as material gloves go, material gloves can be found in Kevlar, Spectra, as well as Dyneema, and we're going to talk about the different ones a little bit later on. The advantages of a material glove is they're thinner, more flexible, they give you better dexterity. The disadvantages are they're not as abrasion resistant and usually don't last as long depending on what you use them for. If you're in a job where all you do is you search all day and you search a lot during the day, chances are you're probably better off with a leather glove as opposed to a material glove. In some circumstances, not all. So let's talk a little bit about protection. There are three types of gloves, three types of liners you're going to find inside of cut-resistant gloves. First one is Kevlar, which is yellow. Second one you're going to find is Spectra, which are white. And the third type you're going to find is Dyneema, which is gray, almost a salt and pepper type look. Now, as far as the Kevlar gloves go, Kevlar is the same material that's in body armor. The difference between body armor and your gloves, body armor has many, many layers of Kevlar, whereas your gloves are only going to have one. Kevlar was invented by DuPont. It's yellow in color, 5 times stronger than steel, lightweight, flexible, offers heat resistance, broken down by moisture, long-term folding increasing, machine washable, don't use bleach. Kevlar is also used in tires, ropes, snowboards, skateboards, canoes, and kayaks, and usually the lower end of the price spectrum as far as gloves go. Now, Spectra Invented by Honeywell, cut and abrasion resistant, lightweight and flexible. They say it's 15 times stronger than steel. High resistance to chemicals, water, and ultraviolet light, 40 times stronger than Kevlar, and it's medium to high price range. Dyneema is made by a Dutch company. 15 times stronger than steel, lighter density than Kevlar, and it's washable. You just have to avoid heat when you're drying it. Now, when people talk about cut-resistant gloves, oftentimes they think about getting cut with a knife. Not necessarily going to happen. There are other reasons why you may want to wear a cut-resistant glove. If you're putting your hands inside of vehicles with broken glass, sharp pieces of metal, so car accidents, picking up glass, dealing with glass, you're going to need a pair of gloves. If you do a lot of searching, I would wear gloves. If you do occasional searching, I would probably have a pair of gloves on you. My own personal experience with cut-resistant gloves is a long time ago. The gloves that I was issued, I had a shoe that I was cutting open looking for contraband, and in doing so, as I cut down the shoe, I ended up cutting into the glove, and obviously my hand was protected. If I hadn't had that the protective glove on, obviously that would have been a little bit of a different story, but I did, and as a result I wasn't hurt. So let's talk a little bit about cut-resistant gloves versus puncture-resistant gloves. Do you need a pair of puncture-resistant gloves? The best person to answer that is you. However, choosing puncture-resistant gloves over cut-resistant gloves, there's a few things you need to know. First one, the cut-resistant glove, you're protected all around your fingers, between the fingers, your hand, bottom of your palm, back of the hand. You are covered for cut resistance. With puncture resistance, there are some limitations, and the reason for the limitations is the material that protects you from the needle sticks is so thick. When you have one of these on, it almost feels like a cardboard. It's so thick that if you were to put the whole glove with this material in it, you would not be able to feel anything. Now, the differences in protection. On the puncture-resistant glove, your palm is protected. You're protected to the tip of the finger and then a little bit on the other side of the finger. Same with this finger, the whole finger up to the tip, and then a little wrap on the tip, a little wrap on the tip, a little wrap on the tip. The back of this thumb is not protected. Underside of the thumb is protected, but the back of the thumb is not protected. Now, the back of this glove and the side of this glove has a cut-resistant material on it. What it doesn't have is between the fingers, and you can actually, if you have a pair of these, feel it. You can feel that there's no protection right here in the fingers. You can feel the protection above, and you can feel the protection below, but there's no protection here. Always, always be aware of where the protection is on your gloves. Frequently asked questions. How long should your glove last? When should you replace them? The answer is 1 to 2 years, depending on use and wear. If you wear your gloves every day, you should probably replace them every year. If you don't, any companies and agencies who issue gloves will normally reissue gloves every year. I would say that's a pretty good barometer as far as when you should replace your gloves. If your gloves have been cut, punctured, dipped in chemicals, or soaked in body fluids, I would probably replace them. What type of gloves should you wear? Leather versus material. At the end of the day, that comes down to preference. Most issue gloves are leather, and the most purchased gloves are material. Wear what you can afford. Wear what you feel comfortable with. If you feel more comfortable in leather, wear leather. If you're more comfortable in material, wear material. Do you need puncture resistance? That's a question you should be asking yourself, but keeping in mind that with a puncture-resistant material, it's thicker, your dexterity is cut down, you don't have puncture-resistant all over the glove. As I said, it's very, very important you know the limitations of your equipment, where your gloves protect and where they're not protected. If you have any questions, you want to add anything to this, please give us a call, 911gear.ca, 866-218-5883, locally 905-205-0074. Be safe.